Thank you for tuning in to Waco Miniature Games. This video is going to be an unedited version of me painting the Marauders, the Orc Marauders, as I go through. It's going to be painting the skin on the Marauders for this one here. That will take a little bit of time. When I say unedited, we'll actually put two videos together so that you can see the whole thing. But you'll be able to listen to my stream of conscious commentary as we work through. So if you want to watch just the entire painting process, tune in and enjoy. And what I'll do is I'll go through and paint every single one of the 10 orcs. First of all, with contrast orc flesh. I really like the contrast. It helps people who are not quite as good at painters to do really well because it seeps into those the depths, it gets in deeper, and it makes it look good so that you can see the shadows as well. I'm going to be painting this guy right here. I'm not going to worry so much in the first couple of coats because we're going to put some other coats as well. I'm going to begin with this. I will go through and do all of my orcs flesh first. So I'm going to do 10 of these orcs flesh. You know, to be honest with you, I've never painted an army quite like this, but I'm going to check it out and see how it works. And we're going to find out together. Well, is it a good idea or a bad idea? So shake up my contrast paint. Meanwhile, looking at the miniature itself, which I kind of like these guys. I don't just kind of like these guys. I think they're really cool. Orcs with guns. I'm telling you, how do you get better than that? So I'm going to get a little paint on my brush here. And if you're using contrast paints, you want to make sure you do have a lot. Now, you'll notice here as I'm doing this, I'm like, uh-oh, I got maybe a little bit too much paint. So I'm going to get some of it off my brush here like this. Or some of it off my brush. And then I'm going to do it on this side. And after I do it on this side as well, I'm going to come back over onto this side and maybe scoop a little bit of it out. I'm going to go back here. Ooh, I like the way that orc's arm is looking already. This is going to be one big bad orc. You notice because it already starts going into the crevices, that saves some time later. Now, I'm still going to do some other things for shading as well, but this is going to help me out quite a bit. You know, get that face, that orc face, the face that only an orc mother could love. Never thought much about that. Orc moms. Oh, my orc baby, you look so beautiful. Like, I suppose they do to orc moms. I don't know. I've not encountered too many orcs, but not encountered many moms that don't think their own kids are beautiful. So I'm guessing this orc here, as I'm painting him, that his mom is just as happy with this paint job as I am. It's interesting also, I'm having to use some glasses on these that on my own face, not on here. That's going to make it a little more difficult to see, but hopefully you're getting this also when you're looking. Now, I got some down here. You may be thinking, uh-oh, what's he going to do now? It doesn't matter. And by the way, I'm dipping down here, going down to get a little bit more paint on my brush. Then I'll come back up here. I probably should get a place that you guys can see when I'm actually getting paint on my brush as well. A lot of paint on there. Really putting on a lot of orc flesh right there. A lot of orc color. There we go. And on the inside of the hand there, a little bit on the palm. And right there, I got my first orc-looking guy. He's ready to go. Now, notice it's not perfect, but it is really nice to have all those things put on there together fairly quickly, as well as, if you can tell, if you look right in there, you can see that I got quite a bit of the contrast in the arms already. We're going to do some other stuff for that as well, and we'll be painting some other colors over that. So we're ready to go on. That's 1 of 10. And I'm going to pull up number 2. So here's number 2. I don't suppose in the group of orcs you'd want to be called number 2. If you call an orc number 2 in that group, you may even also be in a little bit of trouble with the orc you refer to as number 2. Getting in there in the arms. Really liking these guys. I think they got a lot of personality to them. Just kind of fun. I just imagine, what would it be like in an actual orc army? Like if you were in an orc army, you'd imagine there'd be some things that'd be different than a regular army. If I'm in an orc army, I'm probably... oh, I got a little off the hand there. It's a little offhanded. Yeah, the jokes are free. Well, I mean, it's YouTube, so everything's free. I'll keep on painting right here. I may even end up doing this super fast, and no one will ever hear the commentary that I'm making right now. I mean, I hear it, which I think is pretty dang good. Else I wouldn't be saying it. All right. I bumped there. Get some more paint on there. It's interesting because on these paints, a lot of times I get the paint from there. I'm going to close it back up a little bit so it doesn't dry out on me. And let's see this arm. Gonna get pretty good painting these arms because they're very similar. And by very similar, I mean, well, pretty much the exact same. Again, I'm not too worried if I mess up on the... shake this up a little bit. Good thing I closed it, otherwise shaking it up would have been a really bad idea. Trying to make sure you can all see all this. Just putting it on there. Ooh, again, maybe a little too much on this arm. They're all going to be really green right-armed. Aha. I'm a green right arm. And then the head again. We'll have to go back and do some other stuff with like the mouth on here, and definitely some stuff on the hat. Oh yeah, there we go. Isn't that a mug that you gotta love? Man, you see this guy coming into battle. I feel like you're gonna be thinking less about firing back and more about running away. I guess that's the whole hope of when you're fighting an orc army. Gotta get in some of those places underneath there. That chin. Ooh, gotta put it right there in the back of his neck. This guy is a green neck. A green neck he is. And I feel like he is very proud of being a green neck. All right, that's 2. Gonna drop him down and get ready for number 3. Well, that guy's a little bit different. Let's come back here. He looks way too similar to the ones we've been doing. This guy, he's got some personality to him. He looks a little bit different there. I'm gonna shake this up. Right like that. And here, let's open this thing up again. I really need to get something a little bit higher so you guys can see me working on that. All right, here we go again. A very similar arm. Again, by similar, it is the exact same arm. I'm starting to regret the fact that I did not do more alterations in actually painting some of these guys, or building these guys to begin with, because they're gonna be pretty much in standard formation, and we'll have to see, because it doesn't seem to be quite the way orcs would necessarily always run, but I don't know. It is an orc army, And armies don't tend to stay together real well unless they stay together. So they very well could actually be all uniformed in movement and attack, which is what you'd want any unit to be. I watched some of the stuff about the marauding orcs, and it seems that the humans had originally come in the storyline and attempted to take them over, and, well, they did not make it easy. So the humans eventually armed them to make them into mercenaries. And after they did that, well, you find out that it was all part of a plan to eliminate the orcs, or at least bring down the number of them quite a bit. And it seemed to work, because it dropped the numbers down a whole lot. Oh, I love painting these guys. Painting these guys is pretty cool. And if you can hear that in the background, that's my son. They're playing D&D, and apparently they're taking a short break while playing. Wouldn't be surprised if they came in here in just a moment or two. I may have to stop the video for a moment or two and start it back up again afterwards. Oh, see right there? I wish I hadn't got that one, because that's going to be a lighter color possibly, but it will still work out. Oh, he's got a nice hat on. That guy here, it's a mean dude right there, you can tell. And he is ready for combat. So I got my first 3 done right here. Not finished yet by any means. And gonna put these down. Start on, well, number 4. All right, got, once again, a bunch. Ooh, I got a different arm on this one, and we got a different mean mugged face. I probably shouldn't have started with the face. Not the face, not the face. If you're familiar with the tick, that would be Arthur's battle cry. Not the face, not the face. Whereas the tick's battle cry, if you've watched it, is Spoon, Arthur! Spoon, which I actually think Arthur's might make a little bit more sense, but there's probably a reason in that too. If you've not seen the tick, then everything I'm saying here probably is meaningless, but I would highly recommend, while painting your miniatures, maybe you go online and you watch the tick. There's a lot of different ways you could watch it if you're interested. The tick is on Amazon, is my understanding. I guess I just did a little thing for Amazon there. Amazon Prime to watch. Their shows are pretty cool. Sometimes. I have to admit, I started watching The Wheel of Time. I read the books, I'm a big Wheel of Time fan. Could not really get into their series. Thought that they did some things a little bit differently than I would have liked. All right. A little stream of conscious with streams of paint. Stream of conscious. You know, when I was in high school, that's when I learned about what stream of conscious really was. There was a book called James Joyce's Ulysses. If you've never read James Joyce's Ulysses, well, I don't know that I recommend it. It's 934 pages of one day in one man's life. That's a little much. Little much. Now, I really like this guy here. I hope you were able to see all that. I'm going to be really upset if you weren't. Right here, I like these. I'm not sure what they're supposed to be, but I'm planning on using those as bullet holes, because I think bullet holes in that would be really, really cool. And that's why I'm also not too worried if I got a little bit out, because that's going to be some metal. Got our 4th orc finished. All right. Jumping in on orc number 5. Orc number 5 here again. Let's adjust the glasses and
jump back into painting. I gotta get in there in those teeth. No dentists here for orcs. I wonder what the dental plan is for the Marauder army. Excuse me, I'd like to join the Marauder army, but I'm kind of wondering, what's your dental plan? If you don't join, we knock your teeth out. If you do join, well, there's a chance you could keep them, at least until you die. Fair enough. Sounds like I'm joining up. Oh, well, you can see that, but man, I do... Oh, there we go. I bumped the camera. So a little bit of movement there, but sure do like these contrast paints. Once over, and I could see very clearly the details in the face. I can go over it again, and I might, but I don't have to necessarily. Get some more paint on the brush. Come over here, big bruising orc's arm. Bruising orc. Ho ho ho! I'm a bruising orc. Not a Bruce orc, but a bruising orc. Making sure we get all that in there. I'm probably going to end up going back later and go, oh, I missed a spot. But hopefully not. Like just a tad bit more paint on there. It looks okay, but by golly, I want to get stuff in the cracks. Ooh, I'm painting these hands back here thinking I might not have painted everybody's hands back there. Might have to go back and do a little bit more. Alrighty. Oop, 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 oop. He is definitely not done. He's got the inside of that arm. Here we go. Oh, that's looking a lot better too. Get that hand in there. Really appreciate you guys sticking with me. Again, this may be done in a faster speed. Probably would be wise. But still appreciate the fact that you guys are watching, sticking with me as I start out on this. A lot of stuff learning. But my thought is, if I don't practice it, if I don't try it, it'll never get done. And so, well, let's see what we can do about getting it done. All right, that's number 5. I'm going to pause for a moment, which means I'm going to stop the video and come back to it in a moment. All right, as I said before, I'm still learning how to do a bunch of these things and kind of making some stuff up as I go along. I decided that it'd be nice to be able to see the miniatures that I'm working on. Also, kept saying something about the paint. Now, we finished 5, and those first 5 took about 15 minutes. So that's about 3 minutes per miniature. And now we're starting again, getting ready for the next set of miniature. We're going to jump with this guy right here. And so you can see me putting the paint on the brush now. Now, the brush I use is a little bit thicker on the brush. The reason I use a little bit thicker brush is because the thicker brush, it allows more paint to get on, and you want more paint to be able to get on with the contrast paints. The reason you want more paint for the contrast paints is that allows some paint to get down, and you have more. If you have the same amount of paint everywhere, contrast paints don't work real well, because you don't have the excess paint in the crevices, the creaks, the cracks, and the crevices. And if they're not in the crevices, well, you don't have that much dark paint. If you don't have much dark paint, might as well just be using regular stuff. So that's why we want to use a little bit thicker brush so we can make sure we get enough of that paint on there. And now we're going to jump in and see how many more of these orcs we can get painted. Put them down for a moment, get some more paint on the brush, go after some of those arms. This arm right here. Run it down across. Now, some of these things, if you wanted to, you could sand some of those lines, like right here. You can see that there's a line right there. That line could be sanded down if you desired, so that people really couldn't see the line there at all. I am not going to do the line. Kind of liking the way they're looking. So, probably don't need to. Again, this one has the bullet hole looking things in his armor, which I really think is cool. And I am going to take a little bit of extra time near the end to do some stuff with that to make the bullet holes really come to life. Or not. I mean, as I'm doing this, again, a lot of this stuff, I'm still doing some learning. Some of the stuff I've done well, and I really want to see how well we can do on this. The advantage is that if you're going to do this, you can see how this works and you can see my mistakes, and that way you don't make the same ones. What I found is that wisdom comes from two places. One place is from doing dumb stuff. A second way is from knowing that somebody else did it, whether by watching them or by listening to them talk about it and then not doing the same thing. So my hope is that if I'm making some mistakes here, you're learning from it and gaining some wisdom. Once again, nobody may ever hear this conversation because I may do this on extremely fast speed. All right, that's number 6. I may have to go back through after I get all these done and redo a few of them, but my orcs are, in my mind at least, my orcs are looking fine. Mighty fine looking orcs. You can see one of those lines in the middle as well of his face. Kind of means he's a little two-faced, but what do you expect from an orc? I mean, really, they're going to be two-faced. Get that back there. Got a little bit on the collar. Don't like the green on the collar. Not much I can do about it at this point, but we will fix it up a little bit later. Gonna shake up my green. Whoa, look out! It's really close to the camera, but boom! It was starting to dry out on that little lid part that I was taking it off the lid. And that'll give me enough paint to start back on the arm. I'd like to have a lot of that paint on there. A lot of paint on the brush. A lot of paint getting into cracks and crevices and really making it look good. Right now, they all look a little bit like they're painters. You know, wearing all their white schmuck clothes and stuff rather than being painted. They look like they're painters themselves. You know, I never wondered about this before, but now I kind of am. Why in the world do painters, why do they, see over here how there's more paint and over here less, and over here looks better on this side of his face. It's kind of like the opposite of shaving. Oh, I dropped him into the pile. I had to find him again there. I am going to put a little bit more green paint in there just because I want to get that in those grooves. Oop. Now, I'm going to take this, put some of that extra green paint here, because again, right there, and then I'm going to take a little off the top, kind of like I was a barber again. The orc barbers are probably not very busy. You don't see a lot of orcs with hair. Not sure why. Orcs don't have much hair, but not seen much on them. Gotta get a little more paint on the brush. Set the orc down a little bit hard there, but you know what? He's an orc. He can take it. And if we need to come back through and touch anything up again later, that's always a possibility as well. Number 7. I want to put a little bit more. Went back over to the left side. There we go. That's one mean mugging orc. 7, which means we only got 3 left. This is the last of the ones that look like that, but oh, check that out. This guy on his face looks like he's got some sort of gas mask on, so we're only going to be putting the green, well, we're pretty much just on his arms. That'll save us a little green arm time. I'm going to close that up to make sure it's not drying out at all. It is my favorite green to use so far. And I got some other colors recently because Games Workshop came out with some more paints, and I may like others, but ooh, so far this orc green, orc flesh, just nice and dark and looks good. Actually, I say dark, it's more of a pop kind of thing. Oh, there we go. That guy's got an arm ready to go. He's been hitting the gym quite a bit, shaking it up. Whoa! All right, popping it open. Let's see if we can finish off this dude. Gonna be getting real close on the orc skin to being finished here. Oh, I guess some of these I've tried to not use as much green maybe, or have left off some green. Lurks much better, again, if you just let the green flow, or whatever color of contrast paint you're using. Like if you're using yellow, you don't want to let the green flow. That would be counterproductive. Oh, licking that arm again. It's a shame he's wearing a mask. We can't see how good he looks underneath there. I'm guessing he's a really good-looking orc. All the other orcs, really impressed by him. Come to think of it, I don't know if there's any. I haven't seen any female orcs in any of this. That's kind of seems to be leaving the female orcs out. That's not a nice thing to do at all. I'm thinking, even though he's wearing a mask, he's got some green neck showing back here. Make sure we can see that right there. All right. This is the last of these. What I mean by that is that now 9 and 10 are going to be our big gunner here. Whoa, he's got a much larger gun that we're going to be dealing with. And not only do we have this big gunner here, the next one is the leader themselves. And we're going to get all the green painted here in just a minute. Once again, shaking it up, shake it up, shake it up. Got to make sure that whatever I sing is not copyrighted. I suppose not that the way I sing, anything that is copyrighted would be recognizable. All right, let's jump back in here. We got another arm to paint. Oh, again, lots of green on that arm. Maybe a little bit too much. Gonna have to go and take a little bit of it off, move it up or move it down. Ooh. So these miniatures, sometimes on these, it's hard to tell. There's some of the places where the molding is a little bit more difficult to recognize what's what. Like I believe I just painted part of the gun green. It's going to be a green gun. Probably not the best of choices, but oh well. Pull a little bit of this out, but I want to keep some of it in there. It really looks good on that arm when we're leaving it in there. Want to make sure we use enough green and enough for it to look good. Gonna grab some more here. We're gonna go right after. Oop, I touched it with my finger. Not a good idea. Probably should be using some sort of holder. But without the bases on, it's a little bit more difficult to use the holder on them. There we go. Works with guns. The OWG. That seems like it would be a group that would be really, well, dangerous. Hence the Marauders. All right, let's get his face in there. Back of that head. Again, we're speed painting this so that we can get out there and play the game. I love the painting process of this. My problem is that I love it so much that sometimes I would spend so much time on the painting, you gotta get that chit in there, that I never get it finished. I had a Warhammer army at one point that never ever got completed. So I'm working, and that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to go through and see if we can speed paint this whole army. And number 10. 10 is the leader himself. I got a shake for the leader. Right here we got the leader. Need to shake for him so that he gets a brand new shake. He's got some different aspects to him for our painting process. And here we go. I'm going to start with the arm here. And got to decide, I believe that this is all actual flesh. I'm painting right here, all underneath there. This part right here. And we're going to paint this section right there. This is also on the other side of these bullets, obviously. This is going to be more orc arm. Got lots of green on this one. I love that. Love the green. Look at that arm. That's a leader's arm. He's saying, go this way. Follow me. I'd follow that arm, I think. especially if I was in danger of not following it, something mean would happen to me. I don't know exactly what that would be in the orc army. Yeah, interesting question to find out. What do they do to people in the orc army if they're not really following orders? It's got to happen. I mean, they're orcs and all. If they're orcs, they're gonna do some stuff that, well, doesn't seem to be on the up and up. That just seems to be the way of orcs. Painting the inside of this guy's arm. Got that done right there. Bring it across so we can tell where his face is. Now, painting his face here. Gonna get the whole head done. Just like that. Trying to make sure we have enough paint again to have some of the paint get down in there. He looks like a leader. Hand up in the air, chin out, ready to say, charge into battle. Don't fire until you see the green of their eyes, or red of their eyes. I gotta figure out what color their other eyes are gonna be. In this case, it'll be the other troops, the peacekeepers. I was looking at the peacekeepers themselves. I'll talk more about this when I actually paint the peacekeepers, but there's some interesting stuff with them as well. And this arm, I'm going to say, once again, that's going to be some more orc flesh arm right there. I apologize if this isn't always in the center. I got to figure out more how to make sure that's taking place, that I keep it in the center, because sometimes I move around while I paint. Not like dancing or anything, that would be weird, but sometimes I move my body a little bit one way or another. And the rest of the body doesn't really matter, but if I move the hand to a different spot, well, then it's harder for you to see. If it's harder for you to see, I am only accomplishing half my goal. Because half my goal is to get it painted. The other half is to let you watch, which is why I'm recording. Seems to kind of make sense and go together there, I would say. Oh, kind of like the way that arm looks too. So we got the captain done, which means that we have finished with all of our orcs. We have an entire all the orcs are flesh colored. Oh, better make sure I close this before I start playing around. You don't want orc flesh color everywhere. But yeah, first part of this is done. Take a look right there. I'm going to pause it and we'll start on the next section here in just a little bit.